The Rendlesham Forest story, you guys. This was a thing I didn't even know existed. I'd never heard of this story, which is odd to me. This happened in December 1980. Yeah, Joe Rogan's going to talk to this gentleman about that, and he finds that particular story puzzling and doesn't make sense to him, which a lot of UFO stuff doesn't make sense to any of us, right? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Like, subscribe, share with your friends.
Whatever the case may be. And so our chemical computers, even though they're different, we can look at their behavior and we can go, all right, I think I understand what that octopus might be wanting to do today, or a shark or a dog or a porpoise. But when you hear what happened in that Rendlesham Forest thing, it breaks all of my guessing machine, and I it's like,
what is the story?
A colonel and some airmen reported some weird stuff that was going on in Rendlesham Forest. Yeah, and they went out and tried to investigate it, and they saw some. Again, I'm doing such a terrible job of summarizing it because I don't really know the lore very well. But
here it is right here.
Everything they saw was very bizarre and crazy looking.
We can read it.
Right?
It says, 40 years ago, a remote forest in Suffolk was the scene of one of the most famous purported UFO sightings in history. So just what did happen, and will we ever know for sure? Victor Thurnkettle was out chopping wood one morning in Rendlesham Forest in late December 1980 when a car drew up. Out stepped two men, aged about 30, dressed in suits. "Good morning. Do you mind if we ask you some questions?" asked one in a well-spoken English accent. Earlier, on 26 and 28 of December, United States Air Force security personnel stationed at nearby RAF Woodbridge had reported seeing strange lights in the surrounding forest. Forestry worker, Mr. Thurnkettle, unannounced and unidentified visitors asked if he had been out the previous night. I said no, he recalls. They said, "Did you leave the house at all? Did you see anything?" I said, "What?" They said, "Oh, there's a report of some red lights in the forest. We're just checking." And the two men, very politely but firmly, asked me probably about 20 questions. I thought they were journalists. They suddenly said, "Oh, well, fair enough. There's probably nothing in it," and left. So I bought the papers every day for the next few days to find out what was going on, and of course, there was nothing. 3 years later, however, sightings made the News of the World front page story. It proclaimed UFO lands in Suffolk, and that's official. The story was based on a memo from RAF Woodbridge Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt to the Ministry of Defense. It was released by the U.S. government, described as an encounter with an apparent UFO in the forest. Since then, the sightings have been the source of much debate and speculation among UFO enthusiasts and the subject of numerous books, articles, and TV programs. In March, a documentary concluded the sightings had achieved legend status like the Loch Ness or King Arthur. The forest even has its own official UFO trail, complete with a life-size replica. Go back up. Of the flying saucer, and this is the replica with like the Hamza thing on it, that hand thing. Bizarre. Thurnkettle, UK.
See, I don't think I was ever really familiar with this story. Let me know down below if you guys were familiar with this story.
Authorities have said they didn't learn about the incident. Okay, well, what is the story though? Let's get to what is the story? Scroll down more. What does it say?
Yeah, and that gets into the stuff that it doesn't make sense in terms of what they describe the UFO doing. It's just very peculiar, right? So,
yeah, they got there. My heart absolutely plummeted. There was nothing. It was an absolute normal glade in the forest with 3 rabbit scrapes. They're all carefully marked. It happened to be roughly a triangle. Okay, what else does it say? What is the sighting? Burn marks on trees, but what's the sighting?
I can show you what the UFO looked like, but
okay,
I mean,
sure. That's what they said it looked like. Yeah. Whoa. And it had those markings on it?
I Googled it. My Google search said that Grush brought it up when he was on here, but I couldn't find like even clips about it. So I don't know that we went that deep into it.
How bizarre is it that it has that symbol? What is that? That's an ancient Hindu symbol, correct? That Hamza symbol?
I don't know.
These are different symbols.
Oh, they're different. Yeah. That looks very weird. Yeah. Huh. So what about this one stands out to you?
I put this one in the category of I don't understand if it's a real account, right? I mean, so I think when you have a lieutenant colonel that's reporting something as factual, I tend not to just immediately dismiss it.
Right.
But what and it's not just him, it's several people around him. What they described, right, doesn't make sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of the David Fravor talking about the Tic Tac, I can kind of, that's not totally alien to me. I could, it's trying to maneuver with the aircraft and it's maneuvering to their cap or whatever the case may be. And I can kind of connect the dots with that. But the Rendlesham Forest thing, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what about it doesn't make any sense?
What they saw, why it was doing what it was doing.
What was it doing?
It just was out in the woods. It was out in the woods, with blinky lights and doing weird stuff.
All right, so that was an interesting story, and I agree with him. What the hell are they doing? Yes, when it comes to the Tic Tac, you knew what it was doing. It was mirroring Fravor's, airplane, mirroring the movements of it, right? What the hell is this doing? And now that I looked at the ship, that they showed, it's starting to ring a bell with me. I've seen it before. I've seen that ship before. And I don't know much on the story. The little I do know on the story is that it was just hovering in the woods. It wasn't doing anything. It was just kind of hovering there. I don't know the extent of how far it went. Did they see something? It says eyewitnesses, USAF personnel, including the Deputy Base Commander, Lieutenant Cole Charles Halt, reported seeing the lights and the object. It says the news story, the incident was reported on the front page of the news of the World newspaper, proclaiming UFO lands in Suffolk, and that's official. Yeah, it doesn't really say a lot, man. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper. There's some YouTube videos about this particular incident. I might have to check it out and dig into it a little bit more. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys know about this particular case. I'm curious, you guys, down below. And look, I've been gone for a couple days just working my ass off, man. And I missed a lot of stories. There's a lot of stuff that just came out. And we're going to try to do the best we can and hit them up. We'll see what happens. Anyways, you guys, like, subscribe, show your friends. Peace out.